Great. So I'm here with you, Jorge, and we're in Porto, which is obviously the main kind of hub for Douro production. It has been for a long time in terms of shipping. But you specialize in working in the Cima Corgo and the Douro Superiore. Can you tell us a bit about the difference between them and what they mean and how the terroirs are different within those two regions?
So, I'm specialized on working in Cima Corgo. I do something in the Douro Superior, but my specialization is Cima Corgo. That's where I really like to work. But I can explain you the three sub-regions we have in the Douro Valley. So, first of all, the Douro, it's a big valley that starts from Spain and finish here in Porto. In between, we have a big mountain called Marão. And the Marão, it's the key point to create the microclimates we have along the Douro region. So because it's a quite high mountain, and that blocks the sea winds protects the Douro Valley from the sea winds. And you know, the first region is called Baixo Corgo, is the one that is near to that mountain. Then we have Cima Corgo and Douro Superior. So that means that the Baixo Corgo, the region, the sub-region that is closest to the mountain, is the one that gets much more humidity and higher rainfall because the influence of the mountain. Then you have Cima Corgo, and you have Douro Superior, where it's really the one that is the driest from the three. So Cima Corgo is more or less in the middle. In terms of soils, it's also different between the three of them. So Baixo Corgo, the first one, it's where you get more deeper soils, richer. So that's it's where we get the higher yields, and the levels of concentration are a bit lower from the three.
More vigorous.
Yeah, more vigorous at the ends, yes. So Cima Corgo is more or less in the middle between two, and the Douro Superior, it's really like a desert, because the rainfall over there, it's around 400 millimeters per year, so it's really less. The soil is very rocky, and very poor as well. So that determines the style of the wines that we can produce on those three sub-regions.
Excellent. And within the Cima Corgo, can you tell us a little bit about the different microclimates that you'll find and what are those main factors that influence it, whether it is the different soils, the altitude, the exposure, what are the main influencing factors?
You have, you know, the wine region, we have the big river, that's the Douro River, and then you have small rivers that flow into the big one. And the microclimates, they reflect these small valleys. For instance, my company, we are located on the Pinhão Valley, so the Pinhão River Valley. And then you have another very important river, that's the Torto River. Between these two, there is a difference. Torto River, it's drier, a little bit drier. The soil, it's a bit rocky as well. And the Pinhão Valley, especially the south-facing part, is the one that I consider the best part of the Douro, because it's where you can find the right balance between concentration and freshness.
Excellent.
So this is the terroir. The different terroir is always according to the soil. Different soils we have, and we have them different altitudes. So the Cima Corgo, we have an average of altitude around 300 meters. That is for me perfect to produce very well balanced wines. You know, we use the lowest parts to produce the ports, where you can get more heat, more concentration, and in the middle we produce reds. And if you go to the 600 meters of altitude, where you can find it on the Cima Corgo, we produce the white grapes.
Excellent. And what is your vision of the Douro varieties? What for you are the star varieties in reds and white?
Starting from the whites, first of all, you know, the Douro is the region in Portugal where you, and not in, one of in Europe as well, where you can find the largest diversity of autochthon grapes. So we have more than 200 different grapes. So it's really the paradise for a winemaker that wants to try to experiment different things. So, but of course there are some stars. On the white ones, we have the Viozinho, Gouveia, Côdega, and Rabigato. Those four are the ones that I think are the best and the ones that have personality on their own enough to produce great wines.
And what are their personalities, each one of those?
The Côdega, it's a grape that is very good in terms of mouth filling, that produce wines with good tension and good structure. The Rabigato, it's very fresh. It's ripening grape, so brings very good acidity. Viozinho, it's very floral, and Gouveia, it's maybe the most complete one of the four. So you can get very good structure, good flavors, very well balanced.
Excellent. And what are your stars in the red?
For the reds, we have two. The most important ones are Touriga Nacional, it's our star, very consistent in terms of quality. That is, of course, very important to choose. It's a grape varietal, very seductive in terms of wine. You know, it's very easy to enjoy, very pleasant. Then it could be very elegant or can be very massive Touriga Nacional, very black. So it depends the way you work, especially in the vineyards, the location of the vineyard. So it's a very dynamic grape to work with. And then you have the Touriga Franca. Touriga Franca, it's the name doesn't. The name could be similar to Cabernet Franc, but there is nothing to do with. But in terms of style, there is similarity. You know, it's a grape that it's not so consistent as Touriga Nacional is, but when it's really good, it is perfect. It's outstanding grape. It's a grape that doesn't like very rich soils, prefer poor soils, so otherwise the vigorous will not permit us to have very good quality, so the barrels become too big. But when it's planted on the right place, with the right soil, the right sun exposure, it's very, very good.
Excellent. And you've consulted for several different estates, and today you have your own project with your wife. Are there any? Do you think that the Douro is fully planted in terms of its potential, or are there sites which you think would be interesting to
I give you an example. So my own company, it's called Wine and Soul. And Wine and Soul, it's a company that we started in 2001 when we decided to bought a vineyard. So we had a dream to create a red wine. And for that, we bought a small spot of an old vine in the Douro on the Cima Corvo. And that vineyard at the time was with the age of 70, so 70 years old. And for 70 years, that vineyard has been producing grapes that were sold to other producers and mixed with many others. So the personality, the identity of that vineyard was completely lost. And in 2001 we bought it and we started making our red wine, the Pintas. So, and today the Pintas, it's considered one of the most successful red wines from Portugal. So from a completely unknown vineyards, we created a brand, we created a label that has been very successful. That tells you a little bit about the potential that is still undiscovered on that region. So many other Pintas vineyards are still to discover. I'm very sure about it. You know, the Douro, it's what we are doing in terms of dry, still wines, it's still the beginning. We have done a lot on the last 15 years. I'm very happy with that, very proud. In general, you know, many winemakers, we are a very good team of very good people very deep working on the region, but I'm very sure that we still have a lot to discover in terms of soils, in terms of grapes, in terms of locations, and that's the good thing. So I think we are very lucky to live our lives at this period on that region. Because, imagine a winemaker working in Burgundy or Bordeaux, where they have already 200 years of history. So it's not many things new to discover. In the Douro, it is plenty of different things. So I think we are very lucky to live on the region where many things we should discover.
But it's not a new region, the Douro.
No.
It's just you feel that this kind of brink of discovery is because it's only now that people are really looking for quality wine.
No,
rather than
the Douro has been focused on ports, and on the last centuries it was a monopoly of ports. So we are reinventing the region, but we are reinventing a region, as you said, with a huge culture, a huge tradition that makes it even more challenging. So we are now not just making port. In my company, we produce 80% still wines and 20% port. So, and the way of working, the way you look for that vineyard, if you think about port, if you think about still wine, it's completely different. So that's why on a long tradition wine region, we have to discover, to study, to experiment new things, because we are producing completely different products today.
Fabulous. Excellent. Good excuse for everyone to come and taste.